Hello, everyone. A big welcome to Learning TV today. We will bring you to the animal kingdom. Have fun. First of all, we are going to look at 22 different types of interesting animals, namely lion, tiger, koala, cat, dog, chicken, rabbit, monkey, parrot, sheep, camel, ostrich, porcupine, butterfly, horse, cow, flamingo, rhino, turtle, duck, cow and giraffe. Beside that, we are going to learn how animals adapt to stay alive in the animal's habitat. Moreover, we are going to study the human activities that leads to the extinction of endangered animals as well. Lastly, we are going to learn the contribution of animals. Now, let's have a look on lion. A lion roars. Roar, roar, roar. The majority of lions are found in sub-Saharan Africa. Lions prefer to live in grasslands, where there is some cover and plenty of water. A lioness often gives birth to 1 to 4 lion cubs. The lion has been widely featured in sculptures and paintings, on national flags, and in contemporary films and literature as one of the most widely recognized animal emblems in human civilization. Lions have been maintained in menageries since the Roman Empire, and they have been a popular species for exhibition at zoological gardens all over the world since the late 1800s. The tiger is the world's largest cat. Dark vertical stripes on orange fur with a white underside distinguish it. Deer and wild boar, for example, are apex predators. It is a territorial, solitary but gregarious predator that requires huge continuous tracts of habitat to meet its prey requirements and offspring rearing. Tiger cubs spend roughly 2 years with their mother before becoming independent and establishing their own home range. The IUCN Red List classifies the tiger as endangered. India has the world's greatest tiger population. Now, we brought you koala. The koala is an Australian herbivorous marsupial that lives in the trees. The koala lives in Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, and South Australia's coastal areas. Its robust, tailless body and huge head with round, fluffy ears and a large, spoon-shaped nose are instantly identifiable. The color of the fur can vary from silver gray to chocolate brown. Northern koalas are often smaller and lighter colored than their southern cousins. Koalas prefer open eucalyptus woodland because the leaves of these trees provide the majority of their food. Koalas are mostly inactive and sleep up to 20 hours a day due to their eucalyptus diet's low nutritional and caloric content. They are asocial creatures who only form bonds with their dependent progeny. Loud bellows are used by adult males to scare rivals and attract relative of the wolf. The dog is distinguished by its upturned tail. Thus their young are born undeveloped. The dog is descended to their mother's pouches for the first 6 to 7 months of their life. The dog's closest living relative. Around a year old, these baby koalas, to the creation of agriculture, are totally weaned. The dog was the first species to be domesticated by hunter-gatherers over 15,000 years ago. Meaning it has a range that encompasses most or all potential ecosystems around domestic individuals as a result of their long contact with humans. Because it can live everywhere in the water, the ability to thrive whale is another example of a cosmopolitan for other canids. It can be found in deeper waters. The dog has been selectively selected for a variety of behaviors. The domestic cat may be found on every continent and on 118 of the world's 131 major island range of shapes, sizes, it is highly versatile, surviving in the harshest in a variety of ways, including hunting. Feral cats have been seen in towns. Dogs have a wide range of lifespans, farming, but the median longevity, marshes, and the age at which half the dogs in a population have died and half are still alive. Domesticated in the fertile crescent of the Middle East, and as agricultural practices are average, so did the median longevity of mixed breed dogs is 1 or more years longer than purebred dogs. Documented in Greece from 1200 BC. Body weight is adversely connected with longevity, and dogs in England were all colonized by the Romans, heavier the dog, brought cats the shorter its lifespan. Small-sized breed dogs live on average 1.2 years longer than purebred that may have pre-adapted the African wildcat for domestication. Dogs from agricultural communities otherwise a gregarious amylase and other genes involved in digestion body language. Dog, a tamed relative of the wolf. The dog is distinguished by its upturned tail. The dog is descended from an extinct old wolf, with the current wolf being the dog's closest living relative. Prior to the creation of agriculture, the dog was the first species to be domesticated by hunter-gatherers over 15,000 years ago. Dogs have increased to a vast number of domestic individuals as a result of their long contact with humans, and they have developed the ability to thrive on a starch-rich diet that would be insufficient for other canids. Over millennia, the dog has been selectively selected for a variety of behaviors, sensory capacities, and morphological characteristics. Dog breeds come in a vast range of shapes, sizes, and colors. They assist humans in a variety of ways, including hunting, herding, and pulling. Dogs have a wide range of lifespans, but the median longevity, the age at which half the dogs in a population have died and half are still alive, for most breeds is between 10 and 13 years. When all breeds are averaged, the median longevity of mixed-breed dogs is 1 or more years longer than purebred dogs. Increased body weight is adversely connected with longevity in dogs in England, i.e., the heavier the dog, the shorter its lifespan, while mixed-breed dogs live on average 1.2 years longer than purebred dogs. Dogs are known to be omnivores. Dogs from agricultural communities have more copies of amylase and other genes involved in digestion than wolves. Chicken. An adult male chicken is known as a rooster or cock, whereas a younger male is known as a cockerel. A capon is a male who has had his scrotum removed. A pullet is a sexually young female bird, while a hen is an adult female bird. Originally, chickens were reared for the purpose of cockfighting. Chickens are now largely kept as pets and as a source of food, meat and eggs. Chickens are one of the most popular domestic animals. Chickens outnumber all other types of birds on the planet. Chickens appear in myth, folklore, and religion, as well as in language and literature, in a variety of forms. Broilers are chickens that are raised for meat. Chickens can live for 6 or more years in the wild, but broiler breeds often reach slaughter size in less than 6 weeks. At around 14 weeks of age, a free-range or organic broiler will be slaughtered. Layer hens are chickens raised primarily for their eggs. The commercial hen's egg-laying ability begins to wane after 12 months of laying, and the flock becomes commercially unviable. Chickens have become increasingly popular as pets among city and suburban dwellers. Many people buy chickens for their eggs, but they often give them names and treat them like any other pet, such as cats or dogs. Chickens are good company and have distinct personalities. Rabbit bucks are male rabbits, whereas does are female rabbits. Coney was an ancient name for an adult rabbit that was used until the 18th century, whereas rabbit originally solely referred to the young animals. Bunny is another word for a juvenile rabbit, though it is commonly used informally, especially by children, to refer to all rabbits. Rabbits have been domesticated for a long time. Starting in ancient Rome, the European rabbit has been widely raised as livestock since the Middle Ages. Rabbits are bred as livestock for their meat and fur. Because the oldest strains were major meat sources, they grew to be larger than wild rabbits, although today domestic rabbits range in size from dwarf to enormous. Rabbit fur comes in a variety of coat colors, patterns, and lengths, and is praised for its softness. For example, the Angora rabbit breed was bred for its long, silky fur, which is frequently hand-spun into yarn. Other domestic rabbit breeds have mostly been produced for the commercial fur trade. Meadows, woods, forests, grasslands, deserts, and marshes are all good places for rabbits to live. Rabbits live in herds, and the European rabbit, the most well-known species, lives in burrows or rabbit holes. Rabbits are wonderful pets. For excellent welfare, rabbits require suitable housing, exercise, socialization, and a specific diet. Monkey. Monkeys are a big and diversified group of mammals that contains the majority of primates. Monkeys are smaller than apes and have tails, which apes have not. There are many distinct kinds of monkeys that live all over the world and have extremely varied lifestyles. They vary in a variety of shapes, sizes, and colors, but they are all clever, gregarious animals. Monkeys come in a wide range of colors and sizes. Male proboscis monkeys on the Southeast Asian island of Borneo, for example, are famed for their large noses. Proboscis monkeys have pot bellies and crimson faces. Their appearance is strikingly different from that of other species, such as black and brown spider monkeys, which are long and thin with small noses. Monkeys can be found on every continent except Antarctica and Australia. They frequently make their homes in trees in tropical rainforests that are both warm and damp, such as the Amazon rainforest in South America and the Congo Basin in Central Africa. Monkeys are well known for eating bananas, but their diet varies greatly depending on where they live and what foods are available. Monkeys are gregarious animals which normally live in groups called troops. Monkeys have a diverse social structure. A one-male group is a troop structure in which a male leads a group of females and other males, usually sticking close to a certain site. Parrot. Parrots are primarily found in tropical and subtropical climates. 1/3 of all parrot species are endangered, and parrots have the highest overall extinction risk, IUCN Red List Index, of any bird group. A powerful, curved bill, an upright stance, robust legs, and clawed zygodactyl feet are all characteristics of parrots. Many parrots have bright colors, and others have many colors. In the visual spectrum, most parrots show little or no sexual dimorphism. In terms of length, they are the most diverse bird order. Seeds, nuts, berries, buds, and other plant material are the most essential components of most parrots' diets. Almost all parrots lay white eggs in tree hollows, from which altricial, helpless babies hatch. Parrots are among the most intellectual birds, and some species' ability to mimic human speech adds to their desirability as pets. Hunting, habitat degradation, and competition from alien species have all contributed to the decline of wild parrot populations, with parrots being subjected to greater exploitation than any other group of birds. Many of the less iconic species residing in the same ecosystems have been protected as a result of measures taken to conserve the habitats of some high-profile charismatic species. Parrots have strong zygodactyl feet with sharp, extended claws that they employ for climbing and hanging. Most creatures, like humans, are capable of manipulating food and other things with dexterity using their feet. Adult parrots are virtually entirely left-footed or right-footed, with the predominance of either preference changing by species, according to a study conducted. Sheep are domesticated ruminant mammals used for meat, milk, and wool. Domestic sheep are tiny ruminants with crimped wool and a lateral spiral of horns. Domestic sheep are distinct from their wild cousins and forebears in various ways, having evolved into the only neotenic species as a result of human breeding. Short tails are retained by a few archaic sheep breeds. Domestic sheep can have no horns, polled horns in both sexes, or horns on just males, depending on the breed. A single pair of horns is found in the majority of horned breeds, but certain breeds have multiple pairs. Another distinguishing feature of domestic sheep over wild ovines is their significant color variety. The colors of wild sheep are mostly brown, with very little variation between species. Domestic sheep come in a variety of colors, from pure white to dark chocolate brown, and even spotted or piebald. Early in the domestication of sheep, selection for easily dyeable white fleeces began, and because white wool is a dominant feature, it spread swiftly. Colored sheep, on the other hand, can be found in many current breeds, and may even be a recessive feature in white flocks. While white wool is desirable for large commercial markets, colored fleeces have a niche market, primarily for handspinning. Sheep are herbivorous mammals that eat plants. Grazing on grass and other short roughage is preferred by most breeds. Sheep, like all other ruminants, have a four-chambered digestive system that allows them to break down cellulose from stems, leaves, and seed hulls into simpler carbs. When sheep graze, vegetation is processed into a bolus, which is subsequently transported via the reticulum into the rumen. Even toes and distinctive humps of fatty deposits on their backs. Camels have long been tamed and provide both food, meat and milk, and textiles as livestock, fiber and felt from hair. Camels are desert-adapted working animals that are used to convey both passengers and freight. Camels come in 3 different varieties. The one-humped dromedary makes up 94% of all camels on the earth, whereas the two-humped Bactrian camel makes up only 6%. The wild Bactrian camel is a unique species that is currently threatened with extinction. Camels have a life expectancy of 40 to 50 years. Camels can sprint up to 65 kilometers per hour, 40 miles per hour, in short bursts and maintain these speeds for long periods of time. The spreading toes of a camel's hoof provide extra traction for different soil particles. Camels' humps do not hold water directly. Instead, they serve as fatty tissue reservoirs. This tissue produces more than 1 gram of water for every gram of fat processed when it is metabolized. While fat oxidation releases energy, it also causes water to drain from the lungs during breathing, since oxygen is necessary for the metabolic process, resulting in a net loss of water. Camels have a number of physiological adaptations that allow them to survive for lengthy periods of time without access to water. Even in extremely hot temperatures, the dromedary camel can drink only once every 10 days and lose up to 30% of its total weight owing to dehydration. Camels can survive temperature and water consumption fluctuations that would kill most other mammals. Their temperature starts at 34 degrees Celsius, 93 degrees Fahrenheit, in the morning and gradually rises to 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, by sunset, before cooling off at night. Camels lose only 1.3 liters of fluid intake per day, compared to 20 to 40 liters per day for other animals. Camels have a rete mirabile, a network of arteries and veins that lie close together and use countercurrent blood flow to cool blood traveling to the brain. Even in hot weather, camels rarely sweat. When a camel exhales, water vapor is retained in their nostrils and reabsorbed into the body, allowing the camel to preserve water. Camels consuming green herbage can consume enough fluids to keep their bodies hydrated without drinking in milder temperatures. Calves of domesticated camels laying in sternal recumbency, which promotes heat loss. The camel's thick coat protects it from the scorching heat of desert sand. A shorn camel must sweat 50% more to avoid overheating. During the summer, the coat lightens in color, reflecting light and preventing sunburn. The camel's long legs assist by keeping its body away from the hot earth, which can reach 70 degrees Celsius, 158 degrees Fahrenheit. Dromedaries have a pad of paper that they use to write on. Camels have a thick leathery coating in their teeth that allows them to swallow thorny desert plants. Sand is kept out by long eyelashes and ear hairs, as well as the ability to lock nostrils. If sand becomes stuck in their eyes, they can use their translucent third eyelid to remove it. The camel's stride and wider feet allow them to walk across the sand without sinking. A camel's kidneys and intestines are extremely effective at reabsorbing water. The cortex to medulla ratio in camel kidneys is 1:4. As a result, the medullary section of a camel's kidney is double the size of a cow's kidney. Second, renal corpuscles are smaller in diameter, reducing the surface area available for filtration. Camels are able to preserve water by having these two fundamental anatomical traits. Ostrich is a species of flightless bird native to certain large areas of Africa and is the largest living bird species. It is distinctive in its appearance, with a long neck and legs, and can run for a long time at a speed of 55 km per hour, 34 miles per hour, with short bursts up to about 70 km per hour, 40 miles per hour, the fastest land speed of any bird. The common ostrich is the largest living species of bird and lays the largest eggs of any living bird. The common ostrich's diet consists mainly of plant matter, though it also eats invertebrates and small reptiles. It lives in nomadic groups of 5 to 50 birds. When threatened, the ostrich will either hide itself by lying flat against the ground or run away. If cornered, it can attack with a kick of its powerful legs. The common ostrich is farmed around the world, particularly for its feathers, which are decorative and are also used as feather dusters. Its skin is used for leather products and its meat is marketed commercially, with its leanness a common marketing point. Common ostriches usually weigh from 63 to 145 kilograms, as much as 1 to 2 adult humans. At 1 year of age, common ostriches weigh approximately 45 kilograms. Their lifespan is typically 40 to 45 years. The feathers of adult males are mostly black, with white primaries and a white tail. However, the tail of one subspecies is buff. Females and young males are grayish-brown and white. The head and neck of both male and female ostriches is nearly bare, with a thin layer of down. The skin of the female's neck and thighs is pinkish-gray, while the male's is gray or pink dependent on subspecies. The long neck and legs keep their head up to 2.8 meters above the ground. and their eyes are said to be the largest of any land vertebrate, helping them to see predators at a great distance. The feathers lack the tiny hooks that lock together the smooth external feathers of flying birds, and so are soft and fluffy and serve as insulation. Common ostriches can tolerate a wide range of temperatures. In much of their habitat, temperatures vary as much as 40 degrees Celsius between night and day. Their temperature control relies in part on behavioral thermoregulation. Porcupine. Porcupines are huge rodents with sharp spines, or quills, on their coats to protect them from predators. The average porcupine is 60 to 90 centimeters long, with a 20 to 25 centimeters tail. They are spherical, big, and sluggish, weighing 5 to 16 kilograms and employing an aposematic defense strategy. Porcupines come in a variety of brown, gray, and white colorations. A porcupet is a baby porcupine. The quills of a porcupet have soft, stiffened hair when they are born. Within a few days, they harden into the spiky quills of adults. Porcupines have a long lifespan and hold the distinction for being the world's oldest rodent. Porcupines are found in Asia's tropical and temperate regions, as well as southern Europe, Africa, and North and South America. They can be found in woodlands, deserts, rocky outcroppings. Butterflies are a type of insect. Adult butterflies have huge, brilliantly colored wings and a fluttering, noticeable flight. Butterflies have a 4-stage life cycle, similar to that of other insects, in which they go through complete metamorphosis. Winged adults lay eggs on the food plant that their caterpillars, or larvae, would eat. Caterpillars grow quickly, sometimes extremely quickly, and pupate in a chrysalis when completely mature. The pupal skin cracks when metamorphosis is complete. The adult insect climbs out, and after its wings have developed and dried, it flies away. The body is divided into 3 portions in all insects: the head, thorax, and abdomen. The thorax is made up of 3 segments, each of which has 2 legs. In contrast to moths, which have thread-like or feathery antennae, most butterfly families have clubbed antennae. When not sucking nectar from flowers, the lengthy proboscis can be coiled. When in repose, almost all butterflies have vibrant colors and keep their wings high above their bodies. Caterpillars, or butterfly larvae, have a sclerotized head with strong mandibles for cutting their meal, which is usually leaves. They have 10 segments to their abdomen, with short prolegs on segments 3 to 6 and 10. The 3 pairs of real legs on the thorax each have 5 segments. A time-compensated solar compass is used by butterflies to navigate. Even in foggy conditions, they can perceive polarized light and hence orient themselves. Polarized light approaching the UV spectrum appears to play a crucial role. Many migratory butterflies can be found in semi-arid regions with short breeding seasons. Frog. Amphibians with lengthy legs and mucus-covered skin are generally referred to as frogs. Frog legs are consumed by people all across the world, while toads are utilized to control insects in some cases. Jumping is how most frogs move. From a crouched position, the frog's long and muscular hind limbs are quickly straightened, propelling it through the air. Many frogs have membrane webbing between their fingers and toes, which helps them swim. Frogs can live in most parts of the world thanks to their morphological and physiological adaptations, with the exception of extremely cold landmasses at high latitudes and some oceanic islands where they have been unable to colonize due to salt water barriers. Frogs can be found in deserts below sea level and in montane habitats up to 4,560 meters above sea level. Frogs are found all throughout the world, but they are most diverse and prolific in the tropics, with 5 or 6 of the 28 families limited to the region. The number of frog species at any given location in most temperate areas of the world is usually less than 10, but in the tropics, especially in rainforests, the number is significantly higher. Frogs distribute environmental resources in a complicated setting like a tropical rainforest in a variety of ways, thanks to their enormous number of species. Frogs can be active at any time of year in the wet tropics, although many species have breeding seasons. For calling and egg-laying, various types of sites and seasons are used. This temporal and spatial separation prevents interspecific competition. Frogs eat insects and other invertebrates primarily, and the abundance of food in tropical rainforests likely means that this component of environmental resources is not subject to competition. Small rodents and other frogs, for example, are eaten by certain large species. Horse. The horse is a hoofed, domesticated mammal with odd-toed feet. The horse has developed from a small multi-toed species to the huge, single-toed animal that it is today over the last 45 to 55 million years. Horses were first domesticated by humans approximately 4000 BC. Horses have evolved to run, allowing them to flee predators swiftly. They also have a good sense of balance and a powerful fight or flight response. Horses have an unusual characteristic that allows them to sleep both standing and lying down, with younger horses sleeping substantially more than adults. This is related to their need to flee from predators in the wild. Mares, or female horses, carry their young for around 11 months, and a foal, or young horse, may stand and run immediately after birth. Between the ages of 2 and 4, most domesticated horses begin saddle or harness training. They acquire full adult development by the age of 5 and live for 25 to 30 years on average. Horses and humans interact in a range of sporting events and non-competitive recreational hobbies, as well as in professional settings such as law enforcement, agriculture, entertainment, and therapy. Horses have long been employed in warfare, and as a result, a vast range of riding and driving techniques have evolved, incorporating a wide range of equipment and control systems. Meat, milk, hide, hair, bone, and medications obtained from the urine of pregnant mares are just a few of the goods derived from horses. Domesticated horses are provided with food, water, and shelter by humans, as well as veterinary and farrier care. Goat. The goat is a tamed antelope species that is commonly kept as livestock. It evolved from a wild goat native to Southwest Asia and Eastern Europe. It is one of the oldest domesticated species of animal, with archaeological evidence indicating that it was first domesticated 10,000 calibrated calendar years ago in Iran. Goat herding is an ancient tradition that continues to be practiced in locations such as Egypt. Throughout much of the world, goats have been utilized for milk, meat, fur, and skins. Goat cheese is frequently made from goat milk. Female goats are called daz or nannies, male goats are called bucks or billies, and both sexes of immature goats are called kids. Wethers are males who have been castrated. While the terms hercini and caprine both refer to something with a goat-like aspect, hercini is more typically used to underline domestic goats' particular odor. Flamingo. Any of 6 species of tall, pink wading birds with thick downturned bills that belong to the order Phoenicopteriformes. Flamingos have long, beautiful necks, broad wings, and short tails, and their legs are slim. They stand between 90 and 150 centimeters in height. When a flamingo sees a prospective meal, shrimp, snails, and algae-like water organisms, it plunges its head into the water, twists it upside down, and scoops the fish up with its top beak, which it uses like a shovel. Along waterways, flamingos construct nests that resemble mud mounds. The female lays one egg towards the top of the mound in a small hole. To keep the egg warm, both parents alternate sitting on it. The egg hatches after around 30 days. Flamingos are omnivores since they filter feed on brine shrimp and blue-green algae, as well as insect larvae, tiny insects, mollusks, and crabs. Their bills are specifically employed upside down and are specially adapted to extract dirt and silt from the food they eat. Hairy structures termed lamellae, which line the mandibles, and the big, rough-surfaced tongue aid in the sifting of food. Flamingos get their pink or reddish hue from carotenoids in their diet of animal and plant plankton. Rhino. A rhinoceros is a member of the Rhinocerotidae family of odd-toed ungulates, which includes 5 living species and countless extinct species. In adulthood, rhinoceroses weigh at least a ton. They eat plants, have small brains for their size, 1 or 2 horns, and a thick, protective skin made up of collagen layers arranged in a lattice arrangement. They eat mostly green plants, although their capacity to ferment food in their hindgut allows them to eat fibrous plant stuff when necessary. Poachers kill rhinoceros for their horns, which are bought and sold on the black market for high prices, leading to the extinction of most living rhinoceros species. The modern rhino horn industry is dominated by China and Vietnam, where it is purchased by wealthy people for use in traditional Chinese medicine, among other things. Rhino horns are formed of keratin, the same substance that makes up hair and fingernails, and there is no evidence that they provide any health benefits. Yemen, which was a key source of rhino horn demand in the 1970s and 1980s, also has a market for rhino horn dagger handles. Turtles. Turtles have a shell made primarily from their ribs, which makes them reptiles. The side-necked turtles and hidden-necked turtles are 2 important groups of modern turtles that differ in the way their heads retract. Most continents, certain islands, and, in the case of sea turtles, much of the ocean, are home to these creatures. They breathe air and do not lay eggs underwater, unlike most reptiles, birds, and mammals, despite the fact that many species dwell near or in water. Turtle shells are largely constructed of bone. The domed carapace is on top, while the plastron or belly plate is on the bottom. Scales of keratin, the same material as hair, horns, and claws, cover its outer surface. The carapace bones are formed when ribs expand sideways and link together to form broad flat plates that cover the body. Turtles are ectotherms, or cold-blooded, which means their internal temperature fluctuates depending on their immediate surroundings. They are mostly opportunistic omnivores who eat plants and animals that move slowly. Seasonally, a large number of turtles migrate a short distance. The only reptiles that migrate vast distances to lay their eggs on a preferred beach are sea turtles. Turtles have been depicted in myths and folklore from all around the world. Pets are kept for a variety of terrestrial and watery animals. Turtles have been targeted for their meat, shells, and usage in traditional medicine. Sea turtles are frequently caught as bycatch in fishing nets and murdered as a result. Turtle habitats are being destroyed all around the world. Many species are threatened with extinction as a result of these stresses. Duck. Ducks belong to the Anatidae family of waterfowl. Ducks are smaller and have shorter necks than swans and geese, who belong to the same family. Ducks are mostly aquatic birds that live in both fresh and salt water. Ducks consume grasses, water plants, fish, insects, small amphibians, worms, and small mollusks, among other things. Dabbling ducks feed on the surface of the water or on land, or as deep as they can go without entirely drowning by appending. A pecten is a comb-like feature that runs along the edge of the beak. The water squirting from the side of the beak is strained, trapping any food. Pecten is also used to grasp slippery food items and to preen feathers. Ducks that dive and ducks that dive for food forage far beneath the surface. Diving ducks are heavier than dabbling ducks, allowing them to sink more easily. As a result, they have a harder time lifting off and flying. Mergansers, for example, are specialized for catching and swallowing enormous fish. The others have a wide flat beak that is suitable to dredging tasks like drawing up waterweed, dragging worms and small mollusks out of mud, hunting for insect larvae, and bulk tasks like digging out, holding, turning head first, and eating a squirming frog. It has no cere, but the nostrils emerge out through hard horn to avoid harm when digging into sediment. Horse. The horse is a hoofed, domesticated mammal with odd-toed feet. The horse has developed from a small multi-toed species to the huge, single-toed animal that it is today over the last 45 to 55 million years. Horses were first domesticated by humans approximately 4000 BC. Horses have evolved to run, allowing them to flee predators swiftly. They also have a good sense of balance and a powerful fight or flight response. Horses have an unusual characteristic that allows them to sleep both standing and lying down, with younger horses sleeping substantially more than adults. This is related to their need to flee from predators in the wild. Mares, or female horses, carry their young for around 11 months, and a foal, or young horse, may stand and run immediately after birth. Between the ages of 2 and 4, most domesticated horses begin saddle or harness training. They acquire full adult development by the age of 5 and live for 25 to 30 years on average. Horses and humans interact in a range of sporting events and non-competitive recreational hobbies, as well as in professional settings such as law enforcement, agriculture, entertainment, and therapy. Horses have long been employed in warfare, and as a result, a vast range of riding and driving techniques have evolved, incorporating a wide range of equipment and control systems. Meat, milk, hide, hair, bone, and medications obtained from the urine of pregnant mares are just a few of the goods derived from horses. Domesticated horses are provided with food, water, and shelter by humans, as well as veterinary and farrier care. Giraffe. Giraffe is the world's highest living creature and the world's largest ruminant. The giraffe's long neck and legs, horn-like ossicones, and spotted coat patterns are its most identifying qualities. Giraffes like savannas and woods as their natural habitats. They eat the leaves, fruits, and flowers of woody plants, especially acacia species, which they browse at heights that most other herbivores are unable to reach. Giraffes are preyed upon by predators such as lions, leopards, spotted hyenas, and African wild dogs. Giraffes live in herds of related females and kids, or bachelor herds of unrelated adult males, but they are social and can congregate in big groups. Necking, or conflict in which the neck is utilized as a weapon, is how males establish social hierarchies. Because of its unusual look, the giraffe has piqued the interest of many ancient and modern cultures, and it has frequently appeared in paintings, novels, and cartoons. Animals can be classified into 5 animals group, namely mammals, amphibians, fish, birds and reptiles. Example of mammals are dolphin, elephant, tiger. Dolphins, like all mammals, are warm-blooded. Dolphins, unlike fish, breathe via their lungs rather than their gills. Dolphins need to come to the surface of the water to breathe frequently. Example of amphibians are frogs. Amphibians are small animals that cannot exist without water or a damp environment. Frogs, toads, salamanders, and newts are all members of this group. Through their extremely thin skin, they can all breathe and absorb water. Example of fish are goldfish and guppy. Example of birds are parrot, owl and pigeon. Example of reptiles are snake, lizard, and crocodile. Adapt to environment. Adaptations to the Arctic environment and fur. Polar bears have adapted to their Arctic habitat quite well. Their fur is the thickest of all bear species. 2 layers make up the structure. The undercoat, which is closer to the body and maintains heat, is made up of thick, silky hair. The outer layer adds insulation and protects against cold and ice. This guard hair layer is made out of clear, hollow tubes rather than hair. The tubes trap air for insulation and reflect all visible light wavelengths in their hollow spaces, giving the fur a white appearance despite the reality that it is colorless. Bears can blend well with their wintry environment thanks to their white color. Polar bears have a thick, 4-inch layer of blubber beneath their fur that absorbs the heat of the sun. This fat layer helps polar bears swim by keeping them warm and enhancing buoyancy in the chilly water. Habitat is required for all animals and plants. The majority either choose or are born into specific environments. Habitats are natural environment of an organism, the type of place in which it is natural for it to live and grow. Habitat is places providing food, shelter from predators and inclement weather of animals. Climate and location are the most common characteristics of habitats. They can range from hot, humid regions near the equator, such as the Amazon rainforest, to icy Arctic regions, such as the Arctic. Animals that reside in a particular habitat have developed adaptations that enable them to thrive in that environment. Camels, for example, have evolved to thrive in the desert. Large, flat feet, to disperse their weight on the sand, are one of their adaptations. The top of the body is covered in dense fur for shade, and the rest of the body is covered in thin fur to allow for simple heat dissipation. Some animals construct homes in their natural surroundings. For instance, birds construct nests by use of twigs and leaves. Polar habitats. Polar habitats can be found in the far north and far south of the world, at the Earth's pole ends. They are bitterly cold, windy, and covered in snow and ice. Trees can't even grow because it's too cold. The Arctic is the name given to the northern polar region, while Antarctica is the name given to the southern polar zone. Summer and winter are the only seasons that exist in polar ecosystems, but even summer is normally very cold. In the summer, it is light for 24 hours a day. The sun doesn't set for 6 months at the north and south poles during the summer, while in the winter, it is dark for 24 hours a day. Tundra is ground that is almost constantly frozen in polar regions. During the summer, the very top of it will thaw, allowing grasses and other plants to grow. Canada, the United States, Iceland, Greenland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia are all represented in the Arctic. Some portions of the Arctic regions are permanently frozen throughout the year. Arctic ecosystems are home to Arctic fox, reindeer and walrus. Grassland habitat. Grassland environments get more rain than deserts, but not as much as forests. The majority of the plants are grasses, which require less water than forest vegetation. Grasslands can be found on every continent except Antarctica, though they go by different names depending on where you are. Savannas and veldts are the names given to them in Africa. Pampas are the names given to them in South America. Steppes are the names given to them in Europe and Asia. Prairies or grasslands are the names given to them in North America, and rangelands are the names given to them in Australia. Grasslands cover 1/4 of the world's surface. Grasslands are typically found between mountains and deserts in the dry interiors of continents. Following the last ice age, as the Earth began to warm and the temperature grew drier, many grasslands arose tens of thousands of years ago. Freshwater habitat. Freshwater ecosystems include rivers, creeks, lakes, ponds, and streams. Wetlands such as swamps, which feature woody plants and trees, and marshes, which have no trees but a lot of grasses and reeds, are both examples of wetlands. Freshwater makes up only 3% of the total amount of water on the planet. Despite this small amount, freshwater ecosystems are home to over 100,000 plant and animal species. Lakes are formed by a variety of natural processes. Many arose after glaciers moved across the Earth between 12,000 and 1.8 million years ago, leaving giant bowl-shaped hollows in the soil that filled with precipitation and runoff during the latest ice age. Others were formed when the Earth's crust changed, leaving grooves and ridges in which water could collect. When a volcano erupts, all of the magma may flow out. If the land collapses into the empty crater, it leaves huge holes that can become lakes. This is how Crater Lake in Oregon came to be. Rivers form when melting snow or ice cascades down mountains, following the land's grooves and channels to the sea. Rivers always flow to the sea. Wetlands, which are areas where the land is submerged in water for the majority of the time, commonly grow around flooded rivers or in areas where groundwater seeps up through the bedrock beneath the soil. Different types of rocks, such as granite, sandstone, and limestone, make up bedrock. Water can dissolve limestone if it seeps through the gaps between these rocks. Beavers may even produce wetlands by damming rivers and streams to create wetlands. Rainforest habitat. Rainforest habitat grow in warm climates and are densely forested with towering trees and green plants. It's termed a rainforest because it receives a lot of rain each year, which aids in the growth of all the plants. Because rainforests are warm, damp, and dense, they are teeming with life. Millions of different plants and animals call them home, some of which have yet to be found. It's critical to maintain rainforest environments for all of the animals that live there, as well as for humans. Rainforests supply 20% of the oxygen that we all need to breathe. Forests in the tropics, which is a zone surrounding the equator, are known as rainforest environments. Rainforests differ from other forests in the globe because they receive a significant amount of rain each year, making them damp and humid. Rainforest ecosystems can be found in Africa, Asia, Australia, Central America, and South America, to name a few. The Amazon rainforest in South America is the world's largest rainforest environment. Rainforests are home to millions of different plants, animals, and insects, some of which have yet to be found. Rainforest ecosystems are thought to be home to more than half of all plant and animal species on the planet, according to scientists. The majority of species that live in rainforest habitats do so high up in the trees, in an area known as the canopy. It's scorching and dry up there, whereas the rainforest's ground is dark and humid. Because there are so many leaves in the way, living in the canopy means you can't see much of what's going on. As a result, certain creatures rely on sound to communicate. They shout out to one another and can recognize when another of their species responds. Marine habitats are places where marine life can thrive. Marine life is reliant on the sea's saltwater in some way. Many of these habitats can be found in the marine environment. Coastal and open ocean habitats are the two types of marine environments. Coastal habitats cover a region that stretches from the point where the tide comes in on the beach to the continental shelf's border. Even though the shelf region accounts for only 7% of the overall ocean area, coastal environments are home to the majority of marine life. Open ocean habitats are found beyond the continental shelf's edge in the deep ocean. Pelagic and demersal zones can also be used to divide marine environments. Away from the ocean's bottom, pelagic habitats are located near the surface or in the open water column. Demersal habitats can be found at or at the ocean's bottom. Pelagic organisms, such as pelagic fish, are organisms that live in a pelagic environment. Demersal organisms, such as demersal fish, live in a demersal habitat. Pelagic habitats are inherently dynamic and transient, as they are subject to the movements of ocean currents. The inhabitants of marine ecosystems have the ability to alter it. Some marine creatures, such as corals, kelp, mangroves, and seagrasses, act as ecosystem engineers, reshaping the marine environment to provide additional habitat for other organisms. The ocean provides the majority of the planet's habitable space by volume. Marine environments, unlike terrestrial habitats, are constantly changing and transient. Swimming species prefer locations near the continental shelf's edge, but only when upwellings bring nutrient-rich water to the top. Shellfish live on sandy beaches, but their habitat is always changing due to storms, tides, and currents. Seawater is found in all types of marine ecosystems. Aside from that, A variety of additional factors influence whether or not a marine area is suitable for habitat, as well as the type of habitat it provides. A desert habitat. Desert temperatures can be quite harsh, reaching as high as 40 to 45 degrees Celsius during the day and dropping as low as 0 degrees Celsius at night. This is due to the fact that there is nothing on the dry land, such as tall trees, to keep it from heating up when the sun shines and cooling down when the sun sets. Deserts can get rain and snow, and when they do, it's usually in a big storm. In a desert, it is possible for it to rain heavily all at once, resulting in a flood. Desert temperatures can be quite harsh, reaching as high as 40 to 45 degrees Celsius during the day and dropping as low as 0 degrees Celsius at night. This is due to the fact that there is nothing on the dry land, such as tall trees, to keep it from heating up when the sun shines and cooling down when the sun sets. Deserts can get rain and snow, and when they do, it's usually in a big storm. In a desert, it is possible for it to rain heavily all at once, resulting in a flood. If a piece of land receives less than 250 millimeters of rain each year, it is classified as desert. Deserts cover 1/3 of the Earth's surface. Deserts can be hot or chilly depending on the season. The Sahara Desert in Africa is the world's largest scorching desert, covering 9.4 million square kilometers. The Gobi Desert in China, which covers 1.3 million square kilometers, is one of the world's largest cold deserts, the Arctic deserts being the largest. Despite the fact that deserts do not receive much rain, the desert is home to a variety of plants and animals. Each species has evolved to be able to survive in a wide range of temperatures and environments with little or no water. Temperatures in scorching deserts can reach 40–45 degrees Celsius, and it cools down as the day progresses. Now, let's move on to the next chapter. Contribution of animals. Animals and their products have a long history of making major contributions to human nutrition, clothing, labor facilitation, energy, and medicine, and have thus been critical in extending human life expectancy and enhancing human health. We'll talk about the various uses of animals. Animals provide us with a variety of benefits. Let's identify some of the animal uses and significant things we obtain from them. Number 1. Human nutrition. Animals do supply us with various kinds of nutrition. Beef, pork, meat, egg, milk, and chicken are examples of animal-based foods. These foods are extremely nutrient-dense and heavy in proteins and lipids. Dairy cattle was bred for the ability to produce large quantities of milk for the huge population of human. Cows, buffaloes, and goats provide us with milk. Milk is a complete nutrient that is essential for growth and well health. Other foods such as cheese are also produced from milk. Humans do preserve various types of meat for winter. Beside from protein and fats, bees are the animals that provide human with sugar from honey. Thus, animals also provide us with the source of carbohydrates. Beside that, bees help in pollination for farmers of various fruits which are the source of human vitamins. Lastly, honey is produced by honeybees in their hives. Honeybees also produce wax, which is used in the manufacture of candles, and honey, which is used as medicine. Number 2. Clothing. Animal fibers and skins are the most common sources of apparel. These are sometimes byproducts of meat animals that were not utilized to their full potential. Some animals, on the other hand, are raised only for the purpose of producing apparel. The animal parts that used for such purposes includes leather, where pigskin is used in apparel, wallets, and on seats of saddles. Beside that, buffalo, alligators, crocodiles are also be used for leather. Another example is fur farms. From making fluffy fur jackets for winter. Wool is generated from the fur of animals such as sheep, goats, and llamas, and is used to make woolen clothing to keep us warm throughout the winter. Woolen blankets and rugs are also made using woolen yarn. Silk are commonly farmed to make smooth textile. Mulberry leaves are being consumed by silkworms. Silk strands are produced by these worms, which we obtain from cocoons. These threads can be dyed in a variety of colors to create colored silk garments. Feathers was used to make decoration. Excessive usage of animal for clothing and apparel is not recommended as it will harm those animals. We are encouraged to use plants-based or synthetic material which are more sustainable. Number 2. Clothing. Animal fibers and skins are the most common sources of apparel. Animal fibers and skins are the most common sources that were not utilized to their full potential. These are sometimes byproducts of meat animals that were not utilized to their full potential. Fibers and skins are the most common sources of apparel. Animal parts are used for such byproducts of meat animals that were not utilized. Skin is used for such purposes in some animals. On the other hand, pig skin is used in the purpose of alligators of crocodiles. The animal parts that used for such purposes another example is fur farms also may used in apparel jackets for winter. Another example is fur farms for making fur jackets for alligators generated used to make wool animals such as sheep warm throughout the winter. Another example is woolen blankets making fluffy fur jackets for winter. Wool is generated from the blanket animals such as sheep made using woolen yarn. Mulberry leaves are being consumed by silkworms. Warm throughout the winter. Silk strands are produced by these blankets and rugs are also made using woolen yarn. These threads can be dyed in a variety of colors to create colored silk garments. Mulberry leaves are being consumed by silkworms. Feathers was used to make decoration. Silk strands are produced by these of animal for clothing and apparel is not recommended as it will harm those animals. These threads can be dyed in a variety of colors to create plant-based or synthetic material which are more used to make decoration. Excessive usage of animal for clothing and apparel is not recommended as it will harm those animals. We are encouraged to use plants-based or synthetic material which are more sustainable. Number 3. Labor facilitation. Draft animal power has always been the primary source of power in agriculture. Bullocks, buffaloes, and camels are commonly used as draft animals, while horses, mules, donkeys, and camels are utilized as pack animals. Tillage, seedbed preparation, sowing, weeding, harvesting, threshing, and post-harvest operations are all done with draft animals in agriculture. Bullocks are quite beneficial in agriculture. They're used to plow fields and thresh crops. Human welfare will benefit from better treatment of draft animals. The use of animals for draft purposes, as well as the power generated by them, is largely determined by animal traits such as breed, species, sex, age, training, and temperament. Also, how they are tamed, trained, and harnessed plays a role. As a result, choosing the right enhanced implements and harnessing them effectively will significantly increase the power output. These animals save petroleum and provide economic benefits in the form of biomass and hide produced by draft animals. Number 3. Part 2. Transportation purposes. Animals are employed to transport people and products from one location to another. Animals like the bullock, camel, donkey, elephant, horse, and others fall under this category. Bullock carts are drawn by bullocks. Camels pull camel carts, which are used for transportation and hauling cargo in the desert. Horses and elephants are also employed as mode of transportation. Number 4. Medicine. The first that come to our mind probably animal research aids in the development of antibiotics and other drugs, as well as vaccines and surgical procedures. Animals are utilized in consumer product testing, such as for perfumes and shampoos. Leeches are used in biomedical. Leeches are useful for improving blood circulation and dissolving blood clots. It should come as no surprise that they can be utilized to treat circulation problems and heart disease. Beside that, animals are also used as medicine. For instance, frog skin are extracted to be used in developing antibiotics. Number 5. Safety. Beside dogs, rats are also playing an important role in human safety. Over the years, a giant pouched rat has been trained to sense the odor of explosive TNT. When the rat discovers the distinctive TNT odor emitted by mines hidden in the ground, it rapidly learns that it may expect a nice reward. The rats were given food rewards for completing tasks such as finding a target or traversing across a surface using positive reinforcement methods. Then they're taught to discriminate between explosive and non-explosive odors in exchange for a food incentive. Rats are the greatest candidates for the task because of their small size. At under 3 pounds, they are too light to set off the explosives. Magawa is a well-known example of landmine rats. During his 5 years with the Tanzania-based international charity Apopo, Magawa discovered over 100 landmines and other explosives in Cambodia, allowing them to be safely removed. It was able to get 35 acres of land for Cambodians to live on.